Hi there, I'm Elizabeth Bertrand and I'm the founder of dolcevia.com. We explore Italy a little differently, focusing on what's actually happening across the country, from cultural events and exhibitions to festival openings, and the moments that don't always make it into the guidebooks. Every month, we bring you a curated overview, what's worth knowing, and more importantly, what's worth showing up for. And for that, I'm joined by two rather unique co-hosts. They're powered by artificial intelligence, obsessively up-to-date, and remarkably good at spotting exactly what matters. Together, they'll walk you through the month, so let's get into it.
Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today is, well, it's a date that feels pretty heavy on the calendar. It is Saturday, January 31st, 2026. And if you are listening to this, and I'm guessing a lot of you are probably, refreshing a travel app or staring at a train departure board, you are likely standing on Italian soil.
Or you're packing your bags right now.
Or you're packing your bags. It feels like the calm before the storm.
But it's not a quiet calm, is it? It's that that vibrating electric static you feel right before the bass drops at a concert. That's the energy.
That is a perfect analogy, because if you really look at the logistics, if you look at the sheer movement of people happening across the peninsula right now, Italy isn't just, hosting an event.
No.
It is effectively decided to become the center of the world for the next 28 days.
It's a total convergence. We usually talk about one big thing at a time on this show. But this month, Italy is pulling off what we're calling the triple threat.
The triple threat. Okay, break that down.
So you have the Milano Cortina Winter Olympics, which is obviously the big headline. But simultaneously, and I mean literally starting today, you have the Venice Carnival.
Right.
And then looming at the end of the month, like this massive encore, you have the historic delay of the Sanremo Music Festival.
It's a lot. And to be honest, it sounds like a logistical nightmare if you don't know what you're doing.
It can be.
And we know our listeners. You aren't here to just sit in a hotel room. You want to understand the texture of what's happening around you.
You want to know why.
Exactly. You want to know why you can't get a ski pass in Bormio, or why Venice is suddenly obsessed with, gymnastics from the 1800s?
Precisely. And that's our mission. We're going to move way beyond the top 10 things to do list. We've gone through the actual logistics reports from the ski valleys, the curator notes from the Venetian archives, which are fascinating, by the way.
Oh, I bet.
And the really specific strategic press releases from RAI, the state broadcaster.
Okay, so we're going to unpack the physics of the ski courses, let's call it the intellectual pivot Venice is making.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
And why the biggest cultural event in Italy, Sanremo, is, frankly, terrified of the Olympics.
It's a huge puzzle, and all the pieces are scattered from the Alps all the way down to the Mediterranean.
So let's start with the piece that's taking up the most space on the board. The reason the airspace over Milan is so crowded right now.
The main event.
Milano Cortina 2026.
Well, let's do it.
So let's get the absolute basics out of the way first, but then I really want to drill down into the reality of this for someone on the ground. Official dates.
February 6th to February 22nd. But, as anyone in Milan can tell you, the games effectively start the moment the first athletes land. The city's already buzzing.
And we really need to clarify the geography here, because Milano Cortina sounds like two neighborhoods right next to each other.
Right, and they are not. Not even close.
That's a hall, isn't it?
It's a massive regional takeover. You've got the ice sports in Milanzo, hockey, figure skating, all of that. But then all the snow sports are spread across the Alps.
Okay.
You have Cortina d'Ampezzo for the women's skiing and the sliding sports like bobsled. And then you have the whole Valtellina Valley for the men's skiing. It covers thousands of square kilometers.
And the media coverage, I assume, reflects that kind of scale.
Oh, completely. RAI, the state broadcaster, is dedicating almost its entire schedule to it from February 2nd all the way through the 26th.
So for the whole month, basically.
Pretty much. If you turn on a TV in a bar in Rome or Naples or Palermo, you're going to see snow. The national attention is being funneled entirely north.
Okay, let's talk about the what to watch. And I don't want a laundry list of every event. I want to know, if you have one day to witness something that just defies the laws of physics, where do you tell people to go?
That's easy. You go to Bormio and you go to the Stelvio course.
I hear that name, the Stelvio, whispered with a lot of reverence. For the casual skier listening right now who thinks, oh, a black diamond run, I've done those. Unpack the reality of this beast for us. Why is it so different?
It's the difference between, say, driving fast on a highway and driving a Formula One car on a cliff edge in the dark.
In the dark.
Well, yeah, that's one of the keys. It's on a north-facing slope that is often in shadow, which makes reading the terrain, the bumps, the little imperfections, incredibly difficult for the skiers.
When they're going. What kind of speeds are we talking?
Up to 240 kilometers per hour. Or, over 85 miles per hour.
Okay, that's insane.
And let's talk about the surface, because listeners might be envisioning, soft, fluffy white snow.
Which would be nice.
And completely wrong. For the Olympics, they inject the course with water using these high-pressure hoses for days, sometimes weeks in advance.
They add water. Why?
They want a surface that is essentially a sloping ice rink. It creates this blue ice effect. So if a skier loses an edge, they aren't sliding on snow. They're sliding on a surface that is actually harder than concrete.
My God. So when we watch the men's downhill on February 7th, that's the first Saturday, we're basically watching people skate down an ice wall on two thin planks.
That's exactly what it is. And you should look out for the San Pietro jump. It's about midway down the course.
The jump, right.
They hit it at full speed and they launch. They literally fly for 30 or 40 meters.
Wow.
And when they land, the compression is immense. They are pulling 3 to 4 Gs. The physical force on their legs is enough to just crush a normal person.
That is just... It's terrifying. And that's the big one on February 7th.
Yes, that's the blue ribbon event. High stakes right out of the gate. After that, you have the team combined on the 9th and then the Super G on the 11th.
Okay, remind me. Super G is what? Faster or more technical?
It's the hybrid. It's the wild child of the speed events. Downhill is pure raw speed. Fluent slalom is all about technical turning. Super G is this beast where you have to make these long arcing turns, but you're still going fast enough to, really get hurt.
Lovely. And then Valentine's Day.
Yeah.
A romantic day on the ice slope.
Chuckles. A very romantic February 14th watching the men's giant slalom, yes. And then the 16th is the special slalom. So it is a relentless, nonstop 2 weeks of pure speed in Bormio.
But there is a new sport this year. Something that feels a bit more, grounded. More traditional.
Yeah, it's ski mountaineering. It's making its debut at the Games.
And this is what people call skimo.
Correct. And frankly, it's about time. If you look at the history of the Alps, people didn't take chairlifts up mountains for centuries. They climbed them.
On skis.
On skis. Skimo involves skiing up the mountain with these special skins on the bottom of your skis for grip. Then at the top, you rip them off and you ski down.
That sounds absolutely exhausting.
It's brutal cardio. It's one of the toughest endurance sports out there. But it fits the Italian alpine tradition so perfectly. The Dolomites, the Alps. This is how soldiers moved in World War I. It's how locals moved for centuries.
So it's more authentic in a way.
Completely. When you watch the sprint on February 19th or the mixed relay on the 21st, you're not just watching a sport invented for TV. You're watching the real heritage of the mountains.
I love that connection.
Yeah.
It feels real. But, and here's the massive but, for our listeners who actually pack their own ski gear, we have to talk about the closures.
Yes, we do.
Because I was reading the logistics report you highlighted, and it looks pretty severe.
It is, for all intents and purposes, a blockade. If you're a recreational skier and you had this dream of, hey, I'll go ski Bormio while the Olympics are there, I'll soak up the vibe, you are out of luck.
Completely out of luck. Like, not at all.
Effectively, yes.
Yeah.
The main Bormio ski area is completely closed to the public from tomorrow, February 1st, all the way through February 16th. And even after that, through the 22nd, it's going to be heavily restricted.
So don't just show up with your boots and expect to get on a lift.
You will be turned away at the valley floor. The logistics report details security perimeters, equipment staging areas. The entire mountain is basically a construction zone for the event.
Okay, so this is a crucial piece of advice. If I'm there and I desperately want to ski, where do I go? Did the report offer a release valve?
It did. The official advice is to look at the nearby areas of Santa Caterina Valferva and Cima Piazzi San Colombano. Those are the designated alternatives.
Are they any good?
Oh, they're excellent ski areas, but you have to expect them to be crowded. Think about it. You have the entire local population plus all the tourists all being funneled into these two smaller areas.
So expect lift lines.
Expect lift lines, expect traffic in the tunnels getting there. The whole infrastructure of the valley is going to be seriously stressed.
Okay. This brings me to another trend we noticed in some of the travel summaries we looked at. Something they're calling luxury tourism.
Yes. the high net worth spectator.
It sounds like a species of bird or something.
Laughs. In a way it is. The travel data shows this massive, massive spike in private chalet rentals. And we're talking 50,000 euros a week and up.
For a week?
For a week. Mostly in Cortina and parts of the Aosta Valley. The trend is all about pairing the grit of the games with extreme over-the-top comfort.
Explain the appeal of that.
It's about proximity and insulation. These people want to be 50 meters from the finish line to feel the adrenaline, to hear the skis cutting the ice, but then they want to retreat to a private spa with a Michelin-starred chef waiting for them.
Right.
It's created this weird friction in the towns. You have the diehard sports fans sleeping in camper vans, rubbing shoulders in the piazza with global billionaires in floor-length fur.
It's the total monetization of the Olympic spirit, isn't it?
It is. And it also just changes the vibe. It makes these little mountain towns feel less like villages and more like Monaco in the snow.
Interesting. Okay, so you have this high-pressure, high-luxury, high-velocity environment in the mountains. A real pressure cooker.
For sure.
But if you get in a car, or better yet, a high-speed train, and head south for just a couple of hours, you hit water.
You hit Venice.
And you hit a completely different philosophy. Usually, Venice Carnival is its own isolated universe.
Yeah.
It's masks, it's grand balls, it's got that kind of eyes wide shut vibe.
It does its own thing.
But this year, reading the press materials, they've done something really strange. They've completely pivoted to match the Olympics.
Olympus, the origins of the game. That is the official theme for 2026.
Okay, I have to be the cynic here for a second. This sounds a little bit like marketing fluff.
I thought so too.
It sounds like the organizers sat in a room and said, how do we draft off the Olympic hype? Does this actually hold water historically? Or is it just a slogan to sell masks?
I was just as skeptical as you are. I really thought it was a cash grab. But then I started digging into the curator notes from the Fabbrica del Vedere and the historical archives they're referencing. And the argument they're making is it's fascinating. It's really smart.
Okay, you convinced me.
They are arguing that before sport was codified into games with medals and stopwatches and all that, it was a display of labor and survival. And Venice was the hub of that.
How so? In what way?
Okay, so think about something called the Forster Hole, the Forces of Hercules.
Right.
These were human pyramids that Venetian workers, the Arsenalati, the shipbuilders, used to build during festivals in the 1700s. And we are not talking about cheerleaders here.
No.
We are talking about burly dock workers, shipwrights, stacking themselves 5-6 men high on a tiny platform. It was a display of raw industrial strength and balance. It was their sport.
So the athlete was really just the worker.
Exactly. Or take the Guerre des Poings, the War of the Fists.
The War of the Fists sounds pleasant.
It was anything but. These were literal bridge battles where rival clans from different neighborhoods would meet on a bridge with no railings and just punch each other until one side was knocked into the canal.
You're kidding.
Not at all. It was brutal, it was tribal, but it was sport in its rawest, most primal form.
So, okay, I see the connection now. While Milan is celebrating the modern athlete, who is aerodynamic, commercial, precise, Venice is celebrating the ancient athlete.
The athlete of muscle and bone. The athlete of the shipyard. It's a brilliant intellectual counterpoint. It gives the whole party a historical anchor.
So if I'm in Venice right now, I'm not just seeing people in costumes, I'm actually seeing this theme played out.
Oh, absolutely. You need to look at the Arsenal. The Arsenal is the historic shipyard where they built the entire Venetian Navy. It's a massive, incredible space.
And they're doing a show there.
They were hosting a huge show called Echoes of Olympia.
And what does that look like? What is it?
It's a massive water show at the Darsena Grande, the main basin. They use water screens, fire projection, aerialists, lights. They are basically telling the story of the struggle, the hero's journey, using the elements of fire and water. It's not just a parade. It's performance art on a grand scale.
Okay, that sounds pretty cool. And for the people who want to geek out on the history you just mentioned, the fist fighting on bridges.
Then you have to go to the mainland, to Mestre, to a fantastic museum called the Museo M9.
M9, got it.
They have an exhibition called Oltre I Limiti, Sport Italia, which is Beyond Limits, and another one with a great title, Ci vuole un fisico bestiale.
It takes a beastly physique.
Chuckles. It's a great song, but the exhibition focuses on how the 20th century changed our view of the body. You know how we went from that worker body you mentioned to the machine body of the modern athlete.
And if you want to stay in Venice proper.
Then the Fabbrica del Vedere has the archival show. It's called Atleti, Lavoratori Operai, athletes, workers, laborers. And it explicitly draws that line from the sailor hauling ropes on a mast to the skier hauling themselves up a mountain.
I love that. It gives you permission to party in Venice, but feel smart about it.
It grounds the spectacle in some really cool history. It's not just an excuse for a party.
Okay, so we have the physical in the Alps, we have the mythical in Venice, but then there's Milan.
The hub.
Milan is the host city, so you'd expect them to be plastered with Olympic rings, selling plush mascot toys on every corner.
And to be fair, they are doing that. The commercial side is definitely there. But the cultural institutions in Milan, the big museums, the important galleries, have decided to do something almost rebellious.
Rebellious how? What are they doing?
They aren't doing sports. They aren't celebrating victory or strength. They are doing fragility.
Fragility. In the middle of a festival celebrating human perfection and strength. That's a choice.
It's classic Milanese counter-programming. The curators there know they can't compete with the raw adrenaline of a downhill race, so they're not trying to. They're offering the antidote. They're offering the come down.
Give me the headline example. What's the one thing people have to see?
It has to be Anselm Kiefer at the Palazzo Reale.
Okay, Kiefer is heavy. He is not a fun artist.
No, not at all. His work is monumental, it's tragic, it's steeped in history and myth. The exhibition is called Le Alchimisti, The Alchemists.
And when does it open?
It opens February 7th, the day after the opening ceremony. And it's in the Sala del Cariatidi.
That room itself is famous.
Oh.
It has its own history.
A tragic one. It was bombed during World War II. The statues that hold up the ceiling are still scorched and broken. The ceiling itself has been left partially open to the sky in places. It's a wounded room.
Wow.
And Kiefer is filling that wounded room with these enormous canvases made of ash, lead, straw, gold. It's all about memory, myth, and these forgotten female alchemists.
Wait, hold on, pause. So you're telling me that a tourist is supposed to spend the morning at a hockey game, screaming, waving a flag, drinking a beer,
Yep.
and then in the afternoon, they're supposed to walk into a scorched, bombed-out room full of lead and ash and contemplate forgotten history?
Laughs. It is absolute emotional whiplash. But that's the entire point. Milan is saying, yes, celebrate the body, celebrate strength, but remember the spirit, remember memory, remember that things break.
It balances the cultural diet?
Exactly. If you only consume sugar, the adrenaline, you get sick. Kiefer is the fiber. He's the heavy, substantial, necessary meal.
Is anyone else in Milan doing this kind of fragility theme?
Definitely. You have to look at Mona Hatoum at the Fondazione Prada.
The Prada Foundation is always the cool kid on the block. Always ahead of the curve.
Always. Her show is called Over, Under, and In Between, and it's in the cisterna space there.
The old cisterns, right?
Yeah, these old industrial cisterns. Massive, concrete, cavernous spaces. And she fills them with these works about exile, about fragility, about grids and webs. It's about being trapped. It's about vulnerability.
Again, the total opposite of the invincible Olympian ideal.
Precisely. And then for the history buffs, a little lighter, the Museo Poldi Pizzoli has an exhibition called Meraviglie del Grand Tour.
Wonders of the Grand Tour. So the original tourists.
The 18th century aristocrats, yeah. This exhibition is really clever because it holds up a mirror to the people visiting now for the Olympics.
How so?
It says, you aren't the first people to come to Italy seeking transformation or spectacle. People have been doing this for 300 years.
Although the 18th century guys were looking for, classical sculptures and paintings, and the people now are looking for gold medals.
The object of desire changes, but the journey, the impulse to travel for this big event, it's the same.
Okay, so Milan is high art and melancholy. Venice is myth and history. The Alps are speed and luxury.
That's a good summary.
But Italy is a big, messy, wonderful place. And there are traditions happening this month that have absolutely zero interest in being noble or artistic or even, safe.
We have to talk about the chaos.
Yeah.
Because if you need to blow off some serious steam, if the Kiefer exhibition is too heavy and the stress of the skiing is too much, you need to go to Ivrea.
The Battle of the Oranges.
February 15th, 17th.
I feel like people see photos of this, people on the street throwing oranges, and they think it's a food fight, like a fun little tomato festival.
It is not a food fight. Let's be very clear. It is a war simulation.
Okay, break it down for us. What actually happens there?
We are talking about hundreds of tons of oranges.
Yeah.
Hard, unripe, winter oranges, basically rocks.
Not soft, juicy ones.
No. And thousands of people. The whole thing recreates a medieval revolt against a tyrant. The Aranseri, the orange throwers, are on foot. They're divided into 9 official teams.
Like street gangs.
Basically.
Yeah.
They have names like the Scorpions, the Panthers, the Devils. They wear uniforms. They train for this all year. And they are throwing these oranges as hard as they can at people in horse-drawn carts who represent the tyrant's guards.
That is the people in the carts. They have protection, right?
They wear these leather masks that look kind of like fencing masks, and they have padded armor. But the thousands of people on the ground, they have no armor.
That sounds genuinely painful.
It is visceral. People leave with black eyes, broken noses, massive bruises, and the smell. Our sources describe the streets of Ivrea by day 3 as being ankle-deep in a slush of orange pulp and horse manure.
That is a sensory overload I can't even imagine.
The whole city smells like citrus and violence.
Laughs, citrus, and violence. I love that. But think about the contrast. You come from the Olympics, which is all about rules. Don't touch the gate, don't cross the line. Time is measured to the thousandth of a second.
Total precision.
And then you go to Ivrea,
Yeah.
and it's just pure, unadulterated anarchy.
It's the pressure release valve. It's the medieval chaos that Italy keeps just simmering underneath the modern, well-dressed suit.
Yeah, that's up north. Is there anything happening further south? For the people who might be, allergic to snow and oranges.
Then you go to Sicily. You go to the Feast of Sant'Agata in Catania.
This one is huge, right? I've read about this.
It's the 3rd largest religious procession in the entire world. It peaks around February 3rd to 5th, so right before the Olympics officially open.
What's the visual here? What does it look like on the ground?
The main thing is the candelor. These are massive, gilded, wooden structures. They look like enormous, ornate candles that weigh hundreds and hundreds of kilograms.
And they're carried by?
They're carried on the shoulders of local men from different guilds through the streets. There are no wheels. It is pure muscle power and devotion.
And the crowds.
Suffocatingly dense. We're talking about 1 million people packing the streets of Catania. It's intense, it's loud, it's deeply, deeply religious. It's just a powerful reminder that while the North is playing winter sports, the South is engaging in these ancient rituals that have not changed in centuries.
It really shows the 2 or 3 or 10 Italys that exist at once. You can be in a futuristic, climate-controlled ice rink in Milan one day.
And in a medieval religious crush in Catania the next. It's the Italian paradox. It contains everything.
Okay, we have covered a lot of ground this month. We've done the sports, the art, the riots, the religion. But there is one final massive piece of the puzzle.
The grand finale.
The Sanremo strategy.
The capstone to the whole month.
Sanremo. The Italian Song Festival. For our international listeners, you have to understand, this isn't just a music show. It's not just another awards show.
No. It is the Super Bowl, the Oscars, and a national holiday dinner all rolled into one 5-night event.
It literally stops the nation. And usually it happens in early February.
Always. It kicks off the month.
But not this year.
No. This year, RAI moved it. They pushed it all the way to the end of the month, February 24th to 28th. This is the latest start it's had since 2021, during the pandemic.
So why? What's the thinking there?
It comes down to 2 things. Fear and strategy.
Fear of what?
Fear of splitting the audience.
Yeah.
RAI, the state broadcaster, produces both the Olympics coverage and Sanremo. They did not want to have Sanremo competing for eyeballs against, say, a gold medal hockey match with Italy playing.
That makes perfect sense. The Olympics would win.
The Olympics would win, but the brilliance is in the strategy. It's in the handoff.
Mm-hmm.
They are framing Sanremo as the post-Olympic narrative.
What does that mean, the post-Olympic narrative?
Think about the psychology of a country after hosting a big event like this. The Olympics end on the 22nd. The flame goes out. The athletes leave. And usually a country goes into this kind of post-event slump.
The Monday morning hangover. The party's over.
Exactly. Everyone's a bit sad. But RAI has scheduled Sanremo to start just 2 days later. So they take all that national pride, all that adrenaline, all that Viva l'Italia energy from winning medals,
right,
and they funnel it directly into the Ariston Theater for the music festival.
It keeps the high going. It prevents the crash.
It's a national victory lap. Carlo Conti, the artistic director this year, he knows this. Our sources suggest we are going to see athletes on stage, medal winners presenting songs. It's going to be a week-long celebration of a winning Italy.
It's a masterclass in emotional scheduling for an entire country.
It really is. They've managed to turn the entire month of February into a seamless narrative arc with a perfect ending.
So let's just recap this journey one more time, because it really is a journey you can take this month.
It starts on the sheer ice of Bormio, the technical, dangerous, high-speed reality of the Stelvio course.
Then it moves to the waters of Venice, the mythic historical validation of the worker athlete in the Carnival.
It takes a detour into the ashen lead of Milan, the fragility and memory of Kiefer's arc, which is the counterpoint.
It explodes in the citrus-scented violence of Ivrea's orange battle.
And the whole thing resolved in the shared national celebration of the songs of Sanremo.
It is a ridiculously densely packed month. So what is the final words for the person listening right now, maybe standing there with their suitcase, who is just completely overwhelmed by all this choice?
My biggest piece of advice is don't try to do it all. You can't. Pick a lane.
Right.
If you are here to ski, respect the closures. Don't fight the logistics because you will lose. If you are an art lover, then go deep in Milan and maybe ignore the sports. But the key is to appreciate the connections.
Appreciate that none of these things are happening in a random vacuum.
Exactly. They are all talking to each other. The art is answering the sport. The carnival is reinterpreting the history of the games. It's all connected.
I want to leave you, our listener, with one final thought. We talked a lot about that Venice theme, Olympus, the origins of the game.
Yeah, it's a good one.
It really sticks with me.
Yeah.
Because in 2026, sport is so often a product. It's data. It's split times, it's commercial breaks and sponsorship deals.
It's a business.
It's a business. But Venice is asking us to look at it differently. To look at the skier not as a machine optimized for speed, but as a figure in a myth, as a modern version of man versus mountain.
The hero's journey all over again.
Exactly. So when you're watching the games this month, whether it's on a screen or from the side of a mountain, try to turn off the part of your brain that cares about the medal count for just a minute. And just watch the movement, watch the ritual, because whether it's on a ski slope in Cortina, in a canal in Venice, or on a stage in Sanremo, Italy is putting on a show about what it means to push the limits of being human.
And that is definitely worth the price of admission.
Enjoy the deep dive, everyone, and enjoy Italy. We'll see you on the other side.